So we're back. We're making progress. So now we're going to work on the internal zipper pocket and also the slip pocket. We can kind of do those, I think, simultaneously. So the first thing is you have your two zipper pocket lining pieces. One is about 1/4 inch longer, as we discussed earlier in the videos, and it's part of your cut list. And all you're going to do is take your zipper. This is continuous zipper tape with the zipper pull attached, and I have bar tacked the end so that the pull doesn't fly off by accident. And we'll line up the edge. And then just clip in place. Don't we love clips? I don't think I don't use straight pins hardly at all anymore. So anyway, so your zipper tape is facing you. The pull is to the left, and now we're going to take the shorter piece and we're going to put it right sides together, and we're going to align the edges. Put some more clips. Some people prefer to use double-sided tape, which again, if you'd like to do that, you can. I am comfortable just having clips. I can sew with them. So you have it clipped now in place. It looks like so. We will take it to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew about 1/8 of an inch on either side. Getting that perfect. And then we will come back and we will press this nice and flat. When you get done, it'll look like this. And you'll see that these edges matched up because of the extra seam allowance that we took up when we attached it to the zipper. So I'm going to go sew this and press it, and I'll be back, and we'll just keep on moving along, making progress. Okay, so I've simply stitched a regular stitch, not a basting stitch, on either side of the zipper tape and the fabric, using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I have a foot that has that built in, so it makes it very easy. So when you get done, just press the zipper tape apart, fold it over, and press it that way too, if you can see that. And you're ready for the next step. So we'll put this aside. This is going to be your internal zipper pocket. Now we're going to work on the facing for the zipper pocket. So what we want to do is, this is a 2 inch by 10 inch piece. We're going to put it on the mat. Take our ruler. I love these rulers because they are 1 inch, and we use the 1 inch measurement a lot. So even if you're not on the mat, you know it's 1 inch because of the ruler. So, but I like to use the mat as well. So just draw a line down the center, 1 inch line. And then you're going to come over 1/4 of an inch. Use your ruler and just bump it over. And draw 1/4 of an inch line. And we're going to go the other side of the same line and draw 1/4 of an inch, or if you're lame like me, you turn it over. It's easier for me to work left to right. Or is it right to left? I don't know. Okay, so drawing one more line. So then we're going to draw a 1 inch line from either side. Down. These are basically, this is your guideline to insert the zipper. So first we will attach this to the facing. I'll show you how to do that. And then we're going to sew the two vertical lines. We're not going to sew the side lines. And then we will give it a press, pull it through, and you'll see by doing it this way, you won't have a bunch of wrinkly lines on the sides of the facing, which is nice. So we'll do that in a So we're going to continue to work on our lining and putting our internal zipper pocket in. So we have our lining here measured up, so it's centered, And we're going to take our ruler and we're going to come down 1 inch. Use a long ruler and use your grid mat. And then we're going to put our facing that we previously cut out and drew, and we're going to line that up as well with the mark. So it's 1 inch down. It may look like it's too high, but actually the zipper will start here, and don't forget we do have a 2 inch facing that will be, not facing lining that will be attaching later on. So we're just going to put a couple of pins in here to hold it in place. So. And go to the sewing machine. We're going to sew the 2 long lines, like I said before. So let me go to the sewing machine. I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. So I've sewn just the 2 long horizontal lines, not the sides. And it's important that you have exact same start and stop point on either end. And now we're going to just take a pen and we're going to draw our V lines so that we know where to stop when we cut into this facing. And I like to draw a little bit deeper V's than you normally would see. It's just something more to grab onto. Just an idea. And then we're going to fold this in half. Make sure it's in half. They line up. Take your scissors and just cut on that center line. And then open this up. And we're going to cut all the way up to the V. And then we're going to cut at an angle those 2 V's to, but not through, our stitch. And then we'll do the other side. And then we'll complete the other end, cutting through all the way up to the V, and then to the stitch line, but not through it. So it's like so. Now we're going to take this to the iron, and we're going to first press the seams towards it, get it all nice and crisp. Do a nice crisp seam on that line, even though it's not sewn. Get that in. Then we're going to pull it through to the back, and we'll have a hopefully perfect zipper window so that we can insert our zipper next. So let me go to the iron and do that, and I'll be right back. So we've got our zipper window all pressed. It's looking nice, you can see that. And now we're going to take our zipper pocket that we made before. It should be fully extended. And we're going to put a little bit of double-sided tape just to help position it in place. You don't need to do the entire width, maybe just a little bit on the center. A little bit down here. And then we're going to take off the top piece. We're going to position our window, matching the facing to the end of the zipper tape. And just kind of eyeball it. But don't eyeball it, it should be exact. Make sure you got your pull over. Okay. So we're just going to adjust it so it looks nice. Okay. And then you're going to lift this up and take off the other piece of tape. back over, and then just position it to your liking, making sure everything is nice and centered. Zip that up. So you can play with it a little bit, but once you're happy with how it looks inside the box, put a few pins in there, and then we will take it to the sewing machine and sew this part up, and we're making good progress. For now, I have adjusted it so it's straight in the window, put in a couple of pins just to make sure. And by the way, if you're concerned about the double-sided tape, we're not really sewing that because we're going to sew right by the edge up here. The tape is down here. So don't be concerned about that. So we're going to make sure that our zipper, the top is up here, the bottom is down here, and this is like so. We have our zipper foot installed, and we're going to just sew right along the edge. Of course, I use black fabric, which will be hard for you to see, but you'll get the idea. So we're just going to take, and I'm going to put the light here so I can see, and we're just going to use the edge of the zipper foot towards the edge of the fabric and sew. Nothing like the hum of the sewing machine, huh? I know some people say they have a hard time getting these perfect corners, so I'll try to help you. A lot of it is experience, doing it over and over and over, but you kind of want to eyeball it. So you can tell, you know, the foot will give you, when you turn it, that is how much you should have as a margin. If you don't have that much margin, put it back and do, you know, one more stitch. It's not the end of the world, so one more. That's the beauty of when you have a synchronizer on a machine like this. You can do stitch by stitch, among other things, and that's just one of the great features. So now my zipper foot is on the edge of the zipper. And the same idea when you're coming along the other side, knowing when to stop. So you put your needle in, down, and then pivot and see if your foot lands towards the edge of that. It did, yay! So off we go. And then you can zip it back up once you've gotten to a comfortable spot. Just take your time. Get to the end. Eyeball it. Pivot. Pivot. And this is fabric, so I'm going to go ahead and just meet my other line. If I was doing something that leather or vinyl, I might be a little bit more precise about where I stopped and started and pull my threads to the back. But no one's going to see my black fabric and my black thread. So, take it off the sewing machine, and we have a beautiful zipper. I think it's beautiful, at least. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of line up these edges here. Put a pin in there. Line up this side. And we are only going to sew up the sides because we're going to leave the bottom. When the bag is all done, we're going to pull the lining through this opening here so that we don't have to have any raw, or not really raw, but any visible seams in the base of the bag. So I'm just going to flip this over. If you want, you can trim away some of this facing up here. Doesn't bother me, so I'll leave it be. So fold this back out of the way. We're doing about a ½ inch seam allowance, maybe a little bit less. And you're just going to go down the side of the zipper. Make sure you don't have your lining in the way. Like that. When you hear that noise, don't be too concerned. Okay. Looks good. Now we're gonna sew this side this direction if you want. It's 1/2 dozen or the other. Sewing a ½ inch seam allowance. Then we're going to come all the way to the top. Make sure you don't hit the lining. And give her a haircut. And there is our pretty pocket. No raw edge zipper tape showing, just a beautiful pocket. And it's going to be a good looking bag when we get all done. Oh, more threads. Okay, so that's that. I'll trim up the sides and clean it up a little bit, and then when we get all done, we'll finish this off. It'll look really nice. So that is your zipper pocket. I hope yours turned out great too. Bye.